So, how do you make a long-tail website? Which really means a website with many subpages. Usually what will happen is that you have a database with some content in it. In a later chapter, I will speak about how you will acquire that content, but for now, let's assume that we already have built a database. Let's take the database for valuewebsite.ko.uk as an example. The database could look something like this. It's just one table where each row contains info for a unique domain. So what we need to do is to recognize that each row of info will be a subpage. And that's what I did at valuewebsite.ko.uk. As you can see on the website, each of those rows became a subpage. So I can click on one of them, and this basically gets the information from one row in the database. So I hope you see the one-to-one connection between the database and how I create subpages. Now that you know that, the question we should be asking ourselves is, does Google know about all our subpages? And the answer initially is no, it doesn't know about them. So nobody will be able to find our subpages through Google. So how can we let Google know about all our subpages? Well, there are two ways. Either we make all our subpages accessible through links through the root domain, or we create a sitemap. I will explain what a sitemap is soon, but before I do that, I want to explain what the limitations of the first method is, which is putting links to all subpages. Let's take a look at valuewebsite.ko.uk. Here we see my website again. As you see here, I only have links to about 30 subpages, so that would help Google to index those. But the problem is that I have hundreds of thousands of subpages, and of course I can't link to all of those from here. So therefore I have to use something called a sitemap. A sitemap is nothing really but a list of all the pages that I have. It can look something like this. This is a so-called XML file, and as you see, it has a list of the subpages. Now of course I did not manually write this. With some basic programming, this file is generated and stored on the server, and can be accessed directly through the address bar. The last thing we need to do is to tell Google how they can find the sitemap. And we do that through Google's own tool, the Webmaster tool. Let's take a look at how we can do that. Here you see my Webmaster tools. And under the Sitemaps tab, you will be able to tell Google where to find the sitemap by typing the URL extension here. Also, there are two things you need to know about Google Sitemaps. The first thing to know is that Google only accepts sitemaps with a maximum of 50,000 URLs. That means that if you have more pages than that, you will have to split it on several sitemaps and submit all of them. The second thing is, just because you have submitted a sitemap does not mean that all your pages will be indexed by Google immediately. It will happen gradually, and no one can say exactly how fast it will happen. But generally, the more people that link to your website, the faster it will happen. Also, just as a side note, a sitemap will always be indexed faster than just letting Google follow your links. So that's another reason to use a sitemap. Thank you for listening, guys, and I'll see you in the next chapter.